Holler. Mickey Holler is a defense attorney who hates offices. He walks out of the back of his Lincoln Navigator, defending the innocent, the guilty, and everyone in between. He believes there is nothing worse than an innocent client because if you screwed up, you cannot live with yourself. We start with season 1. The hallmark of season 1 is the Trevor Elliott case. Mickey Holler is recovering from a surfing accident, and a subsequent opioid addiction. He is sidelined until a colleague, which happens to be Jerry Vincent, is murdered. In a strange twist of fate, Jerry leaves his entire practice to Mickey. Mickey inherits the high profile defense of Trevor Elliott, a tech billionaire accused of murdering his wife and her lover. Now, the conflict here is Trevor claims he is innocent, but is incredibly controlling and refuses to let Mickey delay the trial. Mickey realizes Trevor is hiding something huge and big, but he does his job. He destroys the prosecution's timeline and secures a not guilty verdict. The ending was surprising, basically, and of course to Mickey, because Mickey realizes too late that Trevor was in fact and indeed guilty. Trevor used a drone to dump his bloody clothes in the ocean, a detail Mickey pieces together after the trial. Too late. However, street justice prevails here. The family of the victims shoots and kills Trevor at a public event. Now, as a side plot, we learn that a corrupt judge, which happens to be Judge Holder, was behind Jerry Vincent's murder to cover up a jury rigging scheme. Mickey exposes her, sending her to prison. We come to season 2. In season 2, the hallmark of this season is the Lisa Trammell case. Mickey is riding high on fame. He meets Chef Lisa Trammell, and they have a brief romantic fling. Shortly after, she is arrested for the murder of a real estate developer, which happens to be Mitchell Bondurant, who was gentrifying her neighborhood. Now, the main case, as I told you, it's Mickey has to defend the woman he slept with. The evidence is, well, damning. And here we're talking about her gardening gloves have the victim's blood, but Mickey argues she's being framed by the developer's enemies. Well, the ending is twisted. Mickey discovers that while Lisa did not kill Bondurant, she did kill her husband years ago and buried him in her garden, basically where she grows her cilantro. The police dig up the garden. Lisa goes down for the husband's murder. Mickey is left alone again, realizing his judgment in women is, well, basically is flawed. Now we come to season 3, the Glory Days murder. This season is personal. Gloria Dayton, or aka as they call her, Glory Days, is a sex worker Mickey helped in previous seasons. She is found dead. A man named Julian Lacoste is accused of killing Glory Days. Julian claims Glory told him, if anything happens to me, call Mickey Holler. And we come to the main case. Mickey takes the case, believing Julian is innocent. He uncovers a massive conspiracy involving the DEA and a corrupt agent, James DeMarco. The conflict here is, it turns out DeMarco was using Glory Days as an informant and killed her when she became a liability. The deeper Mickey digs, the more dangerous it gets. His driver, Eddie Rojas, is killed in a car accident meant basically to kill Mickey. At the end of season 3, Mickey exposes Agent DeMarco in the court. The agent flees, but he is later found dead, which basically cartel justice. Julian is exonerated. The cliffhanger here, it ends with Mickey driving his Lincoln, feeling good. He is pulled over by a cop for a missing license plate. The officer opens the trunk. Inside is the body, or the bloody body of Sam Scales. Sam Scales is a conman client Mickey had dealt with for years. And that's how we end season 3. Mickey is arrested for murder. In season 4, which is the current season, it picks up immediately from the cliffhanger of season 3. Mickey is booked into the Twin Towers Correction Facility. He's no longer the lawyer. He is basically now the defendant. Now, Mickey realizes that there is a frame-up. He knows the body in his trunk was planted to neutralize him. He decides to represent himself from inside the jail. We call this pro se. Now he becomes the jailhouse lawyer. The season focuses on Mickey surviving prison politics while trying to run a defense team on the outside and here we talk about Lorna, Cisco, and Izzy. The magic bullet is the defense hinges on proving how the body got into the car. Cisco discovers that Mickey's car was tampered with in a secure garage, pointing to a high level conspiracy potentially involving the remnants of the cartel or maybe a rival legal faction. Now let's talk about Danneberg. Danneberg is one of the fiercest antagonists in the Mickey Holler universe. She is prosecuting Mickey for the murder. He has history with Berg, having won a case against her before, but that only makes the cutthroat attorney hungrier to win. As both defendant and counsel for the defense, Mickey has got his work cut out for him. We know that we needed a powerhouse actor to play this part, and we definitely got that with Constance. As a fellow prosecutor, Maggie is also familiar with Berg's ruthlessness, which ramps up the tension once Mickey's ex comes on as his co-counsel. Now the thing is, Death Row Dana isn't the only one in LA's legal community with a clever moniker. This season, Mickey's ex is able to showcase why she has been dubbed as Maggie McPherce when she joins his defense team in episode 5. For 4 seasons now, Neve has played this fierce lawyer. It's literally in her nickname, and yet we have never really seen that side of her. Because those largely have not been the stories we've told. Throughout the season, Maggie serves as her ex primary support, well, first as his friend and then as his lawyer. They were trying to get space from each other, and her moving to San Diego created the distance that they needed. By working with Mickey, Maggie is also able to see him in a new light, especially as their conflicting views of the legal system have gotten in the way of their relationship. It gives Maggie a feeling for the first time in her life of what it's like to be on the other side, and that enables her to understand Mickey a little bit more. Now, while trying to prove his innocence, Mickey and his team discover that Sam Scales, under the name of Kirk Lennon, had recently gotten his commercial driver's license and established an LLC called Air King Trucking. The LLC has one client, BioGreen, a company that allegedly converts bio-waste into biofuel. As Mickey explains in episode 4, which is there is big money on green energy, where there is money, there is scams. And when there is a scam, there is Sam. And you're right, Sam's latest and last con involved scamming the government out of biofuel subsidies. At this time, he was working with someone else from Mickey's past. 3 years later, after discovering that Sam's biofuel subsidies scam had been under investigation by the FBI, Mickey gets a court order to obtain any information the Bureau had collected. But that doesn't go over well with the feds. At the end of episode 4, 2 FBI agents show up at Mickey's home and threaten him. From there, the team figures out that Grant, known as Alex Gazarian, was running the con with Sam. Izzy and Cisco piece together that BioGreen is owned by Janine Ferrigno, who just happens to be the Gazarian's longtime girlfriend. Classic mob shit. As he later explains to his mentor, Legal, Mickey believes that Gazarian was out for revenge against himself and against Sam. I can't prove it yet, but I think Sam might have been talking to the FBI. What if Kazarian found out? So, Sam Scales, while working with the FBI, you might be wondering. Well, yes. At the start of the season finale, Mickey is kidnapped by his court-assigned police escort and taken to an abandoned train yard. There, Agent Don Ruth, who had once tried to intimidate Mickey, confirms his suspicions. Sam was an informant for the FBI in the investigation of Kazarian's sham protection. But if the feds were to testify to that in the court, well, thereby exonerating Mickey by suggesting Kazarian had a motive to murder Sam, it would compromise, of course, their investigation. So, who actually murdered Sam Scales? Mickey was correct. Kazarian had Sam whacked and framed Mickey, but the murder itself wasn't carried out for the reason Mickey thought. After Kazarian is killed, some film officers threw him out a hotel window because they don't like all the attention Sam's murder is getting. His girlfriend Janine goes on the run with Cisco, who hopes to get her to help in Mickey's case. While in hiding, Janine tells Maggie exactly why Kazarian killed Sam. He actually had no idea Sam had been talking to the FBI. Instead, he was angry because he found out that Sam had been skimming money off the top of their biofuel operation. In other words, as Maggie puts it, Sam was scamming the scammers. One of his cons finally caught up to him. And Mickey, does he win exactly the trial? Well, maybe not exactly. But don't worry, the Lincoln lawyer's name is cleared. With Kazarian dead, Mickey's only hope to prove his innocence in court is to get Janine to testify. But that is not non-starter. She's worried about retaliation from the mobsters who killed her boyfriend, and Mickey and Maggie cannot really protect her in exchange of her testimony. So, with help from Lorna and Izzy's new girlfriend, Grace, Mickey bluffs his way into securing Janine protection from district attorney's office by convincing the FBI that she's going to take the stand, which would blow up their investigation. At the end, while waiting for Mickey to call Janine as a witness, Judge Stone receives a note, which prompts him to call a recess and ask counsel to join him in chambers. District Attorney Adam and also Stephen, the special agent in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles field office, and Agent Ruth are there. Tremblay explains that Janine cannot testify because her life is in danger due to her ties to the investigation. In order to ensure her testimony is no longer necessary, the DA's office is willing to drop the charges against Mickey if he agrees to stay silent until the federal case is closed. But who knows when that could be. So at the end, as the dust settles after his exoneration, Mickey takes his powder blue Lincoln Continental for a spin and uncharacteristically stops at a store for some groceries to make a home cooked meal. There, he notices a woman played by Cobie Smulders, the one we remember from How I Met Your Mother, staring at him. On his walk back to his car, she catches up to him, and just as she's about to introduce herself, shots are fired. The woman pushes Mickey down, saving his life, and Agent Ruth appears to tell him the Armenian mob was still targeting him. After arrests are made, Mickey asks the woman who she is, and she shockingly says, "Actually, I am your sister."